Well, welcome to another episode of The Pursuit. I'm Pastor Rick, joined here with Pastor Harper, and today we're back in the coffee shop. We seem to dress a little bit alike today. We do that again.
Yeah.
Second time that we've done this. But we want to go get started with an icebreaker and get the conversation ready before we get into Pastor Kivett's sermon this week. It is my week to go through the icebreaker.
Sure.
So let's see what we got today, all right? I'm pretty sure we might have asked all these. I'm not sure yet. Okay. Ooh, this is a great one. You have just been elected leader of the world. That sounds like not something you would be elected.
Yeah.
But okay. You've just been elected leader of the world. What would you do first?
Oh my goodness. What would you do first?
Yeah. The thing about these is we never know what this question is going to be.
No.
So we have this awkward time of thinking.
I always have to think.
Yeah, that's harsh.
I hate it.
Yeah. Can we just go ahead and wipe out like all the noble things?
The good stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that. What would you really do?
Yeah. You've got all the noble things out of the way. You've ended hunger. You know, you've stopped global warming or whatever. And now, like, okay, now what would I do? Those things are all off the table.
Okay. I'm feeling myself leaning towards sports and probably working out, reordering the structures of sports schedules so that there's no dead time.
Oh, yeah.
There's currently like a little season in there somewhere where it's like, no good sports on right now. I would definitely repurpose that to where it's just, one right after the other.
Yeah.
No downtime. Go from one sport right to the other.
That's good. Would there be overlap like there is now?
There could be a little. Because,
Okay.
who cares about the beginning of seasons? And nobody cares about that regular season.
Opening day maybe, but
We're talking about regular season,
got it.
not playoffs.
Gotcha.
So, anyway, that's what I mean.
So I like how you went with sports. I'm thinking more of things that annoy me. I would eradicate those things.
That did come to mind.
So for me, the airline boarding process, that is like,
It's too short.
well, no, you load from, you put the, they always put you always put the first class people in first.
Yeah.
And then I got to shimmy by them. No, let's start in the back, fill it all up, and then the last guy, do it that way. It's just
Okay, so wait a second. Let's do a 15-minute breakout session on this.
Let's
let's have the logic here.
Yeah.
If I'm in first class, I don't want to be in a crammed space longer.
Have you ever been in first class?
Well, no, I walked by it.
Okay, yeah. I did it one
looks
time.
peaceful.
One time. I didn't pay for
would.
it. Yeah, I would. I didn't pay for it. I was on a class trip, and they put me and the teacher, the other chaperone, up there.
Dang.
And the other chaperone looked so young. They put her with the students. Put me and the chaperone. He and I were up in the very front of the first class, and it was all.
I'm just thinking, I wouldn't want to sit there as people are coming. I don't want people walking past me. I'd rather stay over, in the concourse where I've got room, and let all those poor suckers get on there first.
Right. Yeah.
I'll go on last, sit down the fewest minutes or hours, whatever. That's what I would envision.
Sounds like it. I'm not sure if this is what we should do as leader of the world, or if this is just we should become presidents of an airline.
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes down.
Yeah.
All right, take some time with your group right now. If you were elected leader of the world, what would your first and let's say selfish thing to do, not noble thing you would do? Well, continuing in the sermon series in the Beatitudes, Pastor Kivett this week talked about blessed are you when you're persecuted for righteousness' sake, and he focused on that idea and went through the whole lesson of what it means, what persecution really is, how sometimes we have this idea of what it is versus what it's not. And we thought we'd ask our groups to talk about this together is, do you ever feel like you've been persecuted for righteousness' sake?
Yeah, and to be clear, again, that end of that is important for righteousness' sake, not for your own opinion or preference or, can we say stupidity?
Well, I think you could say they said that to you because you're a jerk.
Yeah.
That's not persecution.
So there is that, okay, what am I being persecuted for? Is it because I really believe this, or is it because of a way I acted, and was that aligned with the way Jesus acted? Again, he kind of talks about, if the world hates you, it's okay, they hated me first. But then what we have to ask is, okay, when we feel like we're being persecuted, what is actual persecution? And is it because we are actually acting like Christ?
Right.
And that's where some of that comes kind of into better perspective.
So maybe as you're talking about this as a group, you can kind of help each other out here. So take some time right now with your group to discuss what it means, and also if you think you ever have been persecuted for righteousness' sake.
As we talk about being persecuted for righteousness' sake, we talk about what this persecution will look like. And so Pastor Kivett kind of gave some of these kinds of persecution: harassment, insults, people will say evil things, and we see how it grows from kind of being isolated to then also the possibility of death even. And again, we hear stories of missionaries. We know some of these stories. We see some things even in other countries now, present day, where Christians are being persecuted, but then also there is a very real sense of some of that, within our home, here in the U.S., coming under more persecution, again, depending on where it lies on that spectrum. But so our question in that is, do you feel like there's more persecution coming to Christians in the U.S., and then also kind of how that makes you feel?
Yeah, and I read it somewhere, I think it was in the magazine The Voice of the Martyrs, where more Christians are dying for their faith now than ever in world history. And a couple factors of that is there are more people now, and there's more hostile governments. But the question specifically is about here in the United States, and it's not a very popular question. So we want to tread lightly here with this question, but take some time now with your group to discuss what are the possibilities of this happening? Where do we see it coming? Do we feel like it's coming? And then maybe what should Christians do in light of that? And how should we respond to persecution that is coming or could be coming? Well, in our last part of this conversation we're having, Pastor Kivett talked about the promise of that beatitude, for great is your reward in heaven. And we thought we'd like to take our group here for a little bit, take our groups and say, think a bit about what heaven might be like. Maybe look at the things you're looking forward to. What's it going to be like? What passages of Scripture come to mind that point your attention to that reward that's coming? I'll share one, and then with my group, I won't share. You'll just have to share amongst yourselves. One of the things I think about when I think about heaven is, of course, seeing Christ, and really seeing Christ for the first time. Yeah. When we think of Jesus, we might have a mental image of somebody from a movie or a picture or something we saw. But I think of what his face is going to be like. I kind of picture, his expressions and things like that. One thing, of course, that jumps out to me is seeing loved ones who've passed, both family and then friends here at the church. Excited about that thought.
Yeah. Something else kind of that I know it's kind of, you have that thought and you rack your brain. What is eternity like? What is that like? Like, when does it end? Well, doesn't it? Well, wait, what? Like, so just that, that concept of eternity, and experiencing that, and that's, what is that going to be like? Man, we'll take some time right now. Think through this with your group. Just dream about what heaven's going to be like and what passages come to mind as you share this.